What's up, YouTube? BigSweetC here with you, and got another special little video for you talking about Final Fantasy VII Remake. I kind of wanted to follow up. I've had some comments on my addressing the incomplete game myth of Final Fantasy VII Remake, and they brought up some pretty good points that I kind of wanted to just follow up on and kind of go into a little bit more detail on it. So in this one, I want to talk about what the difference between a remake and a remaster is, because this is now the Final Fantasy VII Remake. They have already done the remaster. You can buy it on Steam. You can buy it on PS4. I think you can also buy it on PS Vita if you have it. But the big difference, remaster is just that. It's the exact same game, better looking, better sounding. They go in, they make 480p into 1080p. They make a 16-bit sound into a 32-bit sound or a 48-bit sound. But it's essentially the same game. Maybe they clean up some translation here and there so it doesn't sound so choppy, doesn't come across as so weird. A lot of terms in Japan are not terms in the United States and vice versa. So some of their jokes, when they get translated into English, we English speakers we Americanos look at it like it's just fodder, some fob writing a script. And so it can generally do a disservice to the writers and creators of the game when there's a bad translation. So a lot of times they'll update the translation as well. But more importantly, back to the fact, a remaster is just a better version of the same thing. Whereas this is a complete remake. I know a lot of people are like, well, it's only the first third of the game. There's 3 discs. It's only Midgar. There's Calm. There's Nibelheim. There's Rocket Town. There's Northern Crater. There's Gold Saucer. There's all this other stuff that comes in the second and third disc that we're not getting, even though this is called Final Fantasy VII. But you're also not realizing that it's called Final Fantasy VII Remake. What a remake is the same environment, same characters, fairly similar storyline, turned into a completely new lore, completely new book, new video game, new storyline. So yes, while it is doing itself a great service, reminiscing and keeping with the original motifs, it is telling a familiar story in a brand new way. And they wanted it to be a bigger story than it was originally. Because of that, it is going to take more game. And what I mean by that is, like, you're not just remastering it. You are remaking it. You are adding stuff to the story. You are retelling certain elements of the story to create different backstories, to create different futures, to build different bonds and relationships and character development, to put you more into the actual environment in which your story is taking place. It's not meant to just be a rehash of the same thing, just done better, if that makes sense. You are getting so much more in this game. Just alone, the opening scene of the game is the streets of Midgar. You don't ever get to see the streets of Midgar in the original game outside of sitting in a park with Aerith and going through and getting dresses in Wall Market. That is the limit you get of interaction with Midgar as an environment in itself. In this game, you can interact with people on the street. You can go into these buildings. You can talk with the natives. You can become part of the environment. You have a home in one of the slums. You have a place that you can call home now. You didn't have that in the first one. You have much more detail with these characters that you're interacting with. You learn about Biggs and Wedge through their dialogue. You learn about Jessie as a person, as an individual, when you visit her hometown. You learn how Shinra does business by going into Jessie's backstory, learning about her father and the accident and everything that came after that. You hear the people on the street talking about Avalanche in both negative and positive terms, adding to this idea of whether or not they're doing the right thing, whether they're doing the wrong thing. You have Cloud talking to Tifa about how the media is just a propaganda machine for Shinra Corporation. There's multiple real life situations where the mainstream media creates a narrative, puts the onus on the populace, and then that populace starts to believe that narrative. They talk about this in the game. This is all from the New World Order book by Noam Chomsky, talking about manufactured consent. The detail that they go into this game that was in the original, that you would have no idea was in the original unless you dug deeper into these characters. And you're doing that with this remake. It's not that they're just giving you a portion of the game. They're giving you a full game, but they're giving you more of it. You know, they're giving you a full game. It's just such a condensed part of the overall story that it seems like it's shorter than it should be, but it's really not. It's going to be one of these things where you're going to have to put a little blind faith into it. You're going to have to wait to see how it comes out as a whole, because you're going to get much, much more out of this than you are in the original. I can't wait. We've already seen what Nibelheim could look like, and 5 years ago, we've seen what Zack Fair looks like and Sephiroth looks like. We've heard talk of the Gold Saucer. Jessie apparently works there, right? So there's more of a community in this one. There's more of a real world environment, and you're going to get more content out of it through this remake. It's better than the original. It's bigger than the original. It's not just a better looking copy. And you really are going to have to, you really just have to play the game to figure that out, I think. But it's not a remaster. You know, I think we have to get off this idea that it is a remaster of the old one. It is not. It is bigger than the original. It is a new game. It is a remade version. This is what they wanted to put out originally, and they were stripped of being able to do so because of technical limitations. Now they have a chance to tell the whole story, and they're going to, and it's going to be glorious, but you have to be open-minded about it. You have to kind of be open-minded about it, and it's sometimes it can be hard to see. I can understand that. It can sometimes be hard to see, but it's true. You're going to get more out of it. I mean, there's chocobos in Midgar. We didn't have that in the original. When you go back to play the original, when you're taking Aerith home, or when you're letting Aerith take you back to Tifa's bar in Seventh Heaven over in Sector 7 slums, there's one little area that you walk through, and then you're there. In this game, there's a whole puzzle piece that you have to solve with Aerith as you go through this broken down area. It's more than you guys than a lot of people are giving it credit for, and that's very unfortunate, because the truth is, if it was just a remaster of the original game, 16 hours into it now, I'd almost be done with it. You know, I'd probably be on disc 2, end of disc 2, running on to disc 3. And so it doesn't, you don't want to look at it as just a nicer version of the old thing, because it's not that. It's more than that. You're getting a look at Shinra, President Shinra. You're getting a look at Heidegger and how they perform, how Shinra functions as not only a corporation, but as a corporation that has major political influence over a city, over a town, over one of the biggest areas in the world. There's just so much going on. There's so much more to it, with with the backstory to Biggs and Wedge. Now you've got the reunion members flying around. Aerith is actually opening up to you about Zack Fair, and you're going into these backstories that we've never seen before. There's a moment really early on when you're going through the first reactor scene, and Jesse asks you about Tifa, and it cuts to a flashback that we've never seen before, ever. And it totally changes the idea of what Cloud is supposed to be like when he was a young kid. He was shy. He was a loner. He did not have that many friends. And when he walks outside in this flashback, Tifa, who's with all the other kids in town, is telling Cloud, come over, play with us. Are you ignoring me? What's going on? It changes the dynamic of Cloud's character. You see, a lot of times Cloud actually seems in this one to have some sort of sense of what's going on. In the original, he's got a lot of cold sounding retorts and whatnot, but his psyche is clearly more damaged in the original, and it becomes more damaged at a lot faster pace in the original than it does in this one. And what that does is that gives you a chance to learn who he is before this PTSD, multiple personality, Genova cell, Sephiroth war wound happens. It gives you a chance to connect with him more. It gives him a chance to connect with more people in the environment. And when you do get to that home run time, when he hands Sephiroth the black materia, it's going to have that much more effect because of it. It's going to be great. It is not the same thing. And it needs to be acknowledged that it's not the same thing. But to say that a game that can give you upwards of 50 to 60 hours worth of gameplay is not a complete game is just a lack of foresight, and, in my opinion, kind of an ignorant way to look at things. Now, if they were saying that this was Final Fantasy VII Remastered 2.0, and we didn't get the whole game, I'm on your side. But after having played about 16 hours of this game already, I can assure you this is a full game worthy of the full price. But either way, people are going to think the way they think. So let me know what you think down in the comments below. If I just rambled off 20 minutes of incoherent babbling, please let me know. I want to know your guys' opinion on this, because I would love to keep this conversation continuing if you would like to do so. So make sure you hit that comment below. Otherwise, if you want to see more of the Final Fantasy VII Remake content coming up, be sure to hit that subscription button and that little notification bell next to it so you know when I do drop a new video. Also, if you'd like to see the live streams, do yourself a favor, head on over to Twitch, hit that follow button over there with the notification bell. And if you have any of the social medias, Instagram or Twitter, I can be found there as well at BigSweetC. Either way, that's going to do it for this one. BigSweetC, that's me, wishing YouTube, that's you, wonderful day, night, morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time of day it might be. As long as you're watching, I'm wishing you a wonderful watching time. Sweetness, signing off. Peace.